You love me like
Let's get into week 3 at Microsoft and let's start with an amazing Monday, which was shaping as always, starting with our weekly kickoff, which someone from our leadership is just explaining the highlights, the good part that happened, and also what we're going to focus in this week. And it's a great way in one side to like be motivated, get some insights, and then another part is like all about the idea of okay, where should we put our focus in this week? That happened, and then also I had before that a coffee chat with the person that make our introduction into the company, give us a tour. So it was great to just catch up with him and also other interns to just have a small talk. And then I jump into phrasing pretty much everything because I was like coming up with different solutions, different cutters, and like I was ready to pitch to my manager what's going to happen, and also kind of three pillars of the solutions that I had. Uh, I was like just excited about the idea of like phrasing it and also getting into the why do I think this is a problem, from where did I come up with the data, and like what with who I talk until now, pretty much. And then I had my weekly coffee chat with my buddy, and it was just a great way to catch up with her and like get some insights, trying to understand how do you be successful in this role, and also like maybe some tips. Also, she gave me some tips on like who I should talk to next and what certificates to focus on. So it was great just to catch up a bit and like get some information. And then we had lunch with the interns, which is always amazing. Um, and then, of course, I went to more coffee chats because that's my main to-do list. I had one with someone that is actually uninspired now, so he's like in a full-time position for 4 months now, and I also know him from my hackathon because we're in the same team. So it was great to now catch up with him and be able to understand some project that he's working on, some advice that he can give me, and anything around it. So it was a good coffee chat, and then I jumped directly into my meeting with my manager for 1 hour where we were discussing about my findings and everything, and then we end up with coming actually with a solution. So I got extremely excited about it. He also gave me some pain points with who to talk about the solution to actually go to them and present it and pitch it to see what's their opinion, to see do they like it or not. So I was excited about that part, and then with I ended up just to study more for my certificates because I think it's truly important to get those. I think I jump into a bit of like AI fundamental and data fundamentals, and yeah, I just focus on both of them depending on how the vibe was. I forgot to mention that we end up the night with a cartoon a movie night with the other interns. So we are in day 2 of the week 3 at Microsoft, and today was a crazy day. So in the morning, I had a full block where I was like brainstorming the architecture for my new future project, because after a lot of meetings with different people and also my manager, we decided that maybe we need to redefine a bit the solution. So that means that I need to go back to the dashboard and write again the whole architecture, and also I built up a bit of like how the agents are going to work together and build up everything. And then I also had a meeting with one of the old cohorts of interns to try to get some inspiration from them and trying to get some help in a way or another. And then we had again great lunch, and I went into a meeting with one of the managers from another department here who has like so much knowledge and is like the tech leader for the architecture here in Amsterdam. So he was like pretty high, and like I was explaining a bit my solution and how I thinking about everything, in order to like see is this a good idea from a leadership perspective, should we rephrase it, what's going on, everything around it. And then after we talked and like he saw the whole problem from a totally different angle, like looking also about our customers and how the customers is seeing the success, the technical success that our team is having. And it again swiped my whole idea all over again. I still need to discuss with my manager if in the end we're keeping our solution? Do we integrate what he said in our solution, or we just like fully keep his solution? So we'll see how that shapes. I just texted my manager with what happened. So for this time, I think I will leave the decision to him. I don't know if I'm supposed to take the decision or not, but like now I'm just consulting with him, and depending on his perspective, we'll see what's going to happen. And afterwards, I had another amazing meeting with an old intern. I just love having them because I feel like you're it helping you a lot in the process, because you're like, oh, this is normal, this is how the first month is supposed to be, and also in a way or another gives you some tips on how you should structure everything so that you get a successful internship and maybe an offer at the end. And after all of that, I need to get back to my laptop and do my certification. I'm still working on my data fundamental one for Azure, and each time I'm like, wow, we have so many different things going on at the same time. Day 3, week 3 done. Finally, I'm extremely exhausted, but also motivated in a way or another. Okay, so what happened today? Pretty much on one side, I focused a lot on like building my, I'm calling it elevator pitch. So basically, I approximately have a solution, but I feel like I don't know how to explain it good. So what I did, I just spent 1 hour trying to put the whole pitch together, and then I repeated a bit in my mind to see like, does it make sense if I'm saying like this? What should I add? And then just like building so that in like 5 minutes I can explain my idea and make it very clear and very easy to understand. And then I also had a great meeting with one of the person that actually helped me to get into Microsoft while I was doing my networking, because she gave me some great information. So now I also talk with her and also explain a bit what I'm working on, and she gave me also some amazing points on like on what can I base my motivation for my project and what's the scope, which helped me a lot also for my elevator piece, so that helps a lot. And then of course I worked a bit on having like I'm calling it a new kind of project. I just try to build a booklet for new employers, because for me, when I joined for the first time as an intern, I felt like a lot lost, and I was like, oh, I need to talk with everyone to understand what's going on. So I just want to build like a small document that explains everything, and also like ensure people that it's normal to not have yet a project, and what to do for your first days to like actually feel that you're doing something, you're not just coming. Which I hope will help the new cohort of interns. So what I'm trying to do to just put all the information that I feel like I was so hard to figure it out, but I managed to somehow do it, or other interns did, and then I learned from that. So I'm trying to just put everything in one paper. Then we had a great lunch with this time with some interns, but also some full time. So I also managed to get some intake on them, and then I just like went in a lot of meetings. It was like meeting. Some of them were like a lot of like talking with different people from different departments. Some of them were like CSAs, seniors, which means that they are the managers. And I was like trying to pitch my solution and also the problem. And as always, they came up with something totally different. Totally different, like a different vision of how do I see the solution and how they see the impact. And basically, to be honest, one of them was like a bit transforming fully my solution, but at the same time was like extremely motivational to hear it out, because I was like, oh wow, we can actually build so much impact with this solution, which for me is like the number one thing. Like even before joining Microsoft, during the interview phase, I was like asking people, how can I build impact from this role? So I think that's for me very important. So yeah, just being able to see that was like, oh wow. In a way, for me, when you give me a new idea, I'm like, from me talking a lot, I'm like starting to not talk a lot, because my brain is like processing, like I'm thinking while speaking with you, which is a very weird way of putting it, but yeah. And as always, it came the question of like, okay, and how can I help? And I was like, because for me, if I'm not putting it on a paper, so my answer was like, for it, let me create a scheme, because I'm a very visual person, try to understand the solution, and then I'm able to create a plan of what do I need help and with what I don't need help. So yeah, I managed to survive. Then we had like the weekly with the interns, which was like in a way or another check-in, trying to understand other project that the old interns are working. Maybe some project needs to be handed over, and also someone managed to give us an opportunity to shadow them while they were going to one of our clients. And I hope I managed to get to be one of those person that is going there. I just texted to be like, oh, can I join? So we'll see, but I think I'm getting it. I hope so. That will be next week though, so we'll see. And then yeah, other meetings with other people, and in the end I had suddenly put a meeting with my manager being like, help. And I just explained my solution, the different points of different solutions that I got from different people, and I was like, I'm just lost in what should I listen to and what should I not listen to, because a lot of the times you're like, these are the leadership people, I should listen to them. And the main idea was from that meeting that maybe they all see it from different perspective, but maybe there is a ground middle point that no one sees, so maybe I can see it. So I'm excited to brainstorm with myself to try to see what's the middle point that no one sees, and maybe it actually can solve a bit of everything. So we'll see how that shape. Pretty much the rest of the day I spent fully into that, trying to figure it out and trying to see how do I see the middle ground. To be honest, I didn't manage yet because I think I need to sleep on it, because I always feel like you need to give yourself time to understand the perspective and put everything on the place. But we'll definitely manage to do it. And another thing that maybe for others not that big of a deal, but for me it is the fact that during the whole talk I had with my manager, he also mentioned that he fully believes in me and he fully believes that I'm able to do this amazing process, that I can build something, and that I shouldn't worry about, like, he was like, I'm not worried that you're not able to do it, which for me personally, because I'm still new to the company, having a person like trusting me and believing in me means the world. So I think that helped a lot. So I'm very excited about that part. Day 4 of the week 3 is finally completed, and let me tell you, I think for all the interns that we were today at work, it was a very productive day and also a successful day, because we finally managed, one of us like to build what we wanted for so long, one of us fixing some bugs that we were like, this is not working, and for me finally managed to come up with the solution, in between the solution, basically to actually map the different perspectives that I got for my project into one. And to be honest, personally, I'm very excited about it. I think this is it. This is the solution. Of course, I still need to pitch it and see if it's actually the solution, but I think we're getting where we're supposed to go, so it was great. So the day started pretty much with like shaping some slides for tomorrow's meeting. So tomorrow I have like all team members meeting where I'm going to present also what have I done in these 3 weeks, what's my 3.3 perspective, and then also my solution. Then I also have 2 meetings with my colleagues. So some of my colleagues were in Seattle during my first week, so I finally managed to put some time with them and meet up. So I'm curious to hear more about them, the project they are working, the roles, and see if there's something I'm interested to see and to shadow pretty much. And then pretty much the day shaped in the idea that I was also building a lot of different diagrams, structure, and I was like, how can I actually purposely see all the perspective in one? And the thing about me is like I'm very visual, so what I did, I was like putting each solution coming from each leadership, and I was like putting them in a diagram, and I was like, okay, looking at it, which is it? And the funniest thing is that I just couldn't find it, and at one point I was like getting a bit tired and everything, so I was like, let me go and get an apple. And you know how Newton discovered gravity with the apple? So for me, while I was like biting my apple, the idea just came up, and I was like, this is incredible, I think this is it. And I was like going through thoughts, and I was like very excited because I was like, finally I found something. So maybe next time when something is not coming up, take an apple. To be honest, one thing I learned is like, sometimes when you're like very into it, it's very hard to see actually the solution. But as soon as like some people are playing games, some other people are just taking a break to eat something or go outside for a walk, not literally right now because in Amsterdam it's horrible weather because it's extremely windy. But you know, the idea of like just getting out of it so that maybe it just comes to you. And then of course I already meet some Aspire people, which are pretty much the old interns that now are like actually transformed in a full-time position. And it was just great to have a talk with them, to try to understand their perspective, what projects they are working, and in the end how to become successful, because that's the end goal, isn't it? Last day of this week, I will keep it very honest, it was my best day, let's call it like that. As always, sometimes you have great days, sometimes you have not the best ones, and I promise myself that I will keep this vlog very real. So let's get in also maybe not the so pink part of my internship. So today pretty much I was like as you remember yesterday, I was very excited that I thought that I find finally the best solution for the problem that I'm trying to solve. But after pitching it for a bit, I realized that actually it's not so good because it's nothing much adding on it. And then I was like also, so pretty much what happened today is like I had coffee chat with like people from my team, and we were talking about it, and they came up with a totally different solution, which was very interesting to see their perspective. And then we have the team meeting where I did pitch the whole idea, and the pitch was great. Like I will give myself a bit of applause on that because I did great. I was like prepared, I was like with the slide and everything. But then when the conversation started, I was like, oh, okay, actually apparently it's not that well idea, because people were starting to like pitch up other idea, come up, like it was like brainstorming session for like 50 minutes, everyone was throwing ideas, and I was like, okay, maybe it's not as wow as I thought it's going to be. And then I had another lunch meeting with actually someone that helped me to get into Microsoft, so that was a great part of my day, just like having 1 hour to talk and debrief and also find more about her. And then I went into another meeting, which was a training, which was again great, but I realized that I really need to learn a lot from the certificates, because half of the conversation I didn't understand because I didn't know the tools. But which it was good because that was learning. And then I went to another meeting. As I said, it was a lot of meetings, which I think is the one that made me realize in a way what's going on. Because the thing is that in that meeting, the main question that I got from people was like, okay, but what's actually the problem you're trying to solve? Because you have 10 different solutions, which all sounds amazing, but what is the problem you're actually solving with them? And I was like, oh, wow. So what happened is that I got back into the first mistakes I did in my first hackathon in AI with Microsoft, which like gave me so much throwback. So what happened back then was that we were so excited about coding and be able to use every like Microsoft resources, because we did have access back then to them, and we were so excited that we just jumped into the solution. We just built something that we thought is amazing. And I think, I mean, what happened on throwback, it was like after like third part of the hackathon, we realized no one wants this solution, no one actually has this problem that we thought is a problem, and we need to start over and redo it, and like pivot idea, create a survey, got the information, and then come up with a new solution, which in the end made us won. But in the day that I find out that everything we did until then is not worth it and is like not good, let's call it like that, like it like pushed me, and I was like very like my whole world was like dropping on my head. And throwback now, I feel like that's exactly what happened again. I was like so invested in the idea that I can do so much, I can create an impact, I can do 10,000 different projects, but actually I had zero clue what I'm solving. But because I never actually survey people into what's their opinion, because I just assume stuff, which is again the biggest lesson that I could learn again. And I think I need to like push in my head again that this is actually the way. You first need to understand what's the problem and then try to jump into a solution, not trying to jump in a solution and then you figure out the problem that you're solving with it. So yeah, it was a huge realization. I think why I call it is a bad day is that when you realize that, it's somehow you feel like, oh, these 3 weeks I didn't do much, I just waste my time, blah blah blah. Like, I know it doesn't make sense because now, okay, I'm not filming the same day that this happened. Now it's Saturday, because I couldn't film yesterday. But the thing is that now that I have a fresh mind and I'm not seeing the situation as I saw it yesterday, I do understand that actually this is the best thing that could happen, because as before with my hackathon, that means that you can pivot from beginning and you can actually understand better. And because you had this whole thing happening that you need to get it back together and do it again, that's usually when the best ideas come up, because that means that you do understand how deep you should go into the problem. And now literally next week is going to be fully focused on like doing a survey, trying to talk with people, shadowing people to actually understand the problem that maybe some of them don't see it, and from that on to create a solution. So I do know, even though I said this was a bad day, it's going to transform it and become like the best week or maybe the best internship because this happened. So I do know that's a good thing. I do understand that everything is going to be good and everything, but I didn't really share that it's okay that sometimes you feel overwhelmed and you feel like, oh no, I spent so much time on the wrong setup and now I need to redo it again. But I do also know that from those, there's going to be a great thing happening, because as I like to say, after rain is always sun coming up. So I'm very excited about next week. I do think it's going to be a very exciting one. Everything will make sense in my mind. But let's see how it actually shapes.